Here's represented in the news media today. We thank you very much for what you folks are doing for us here in the County of Moore. I just want to reach out and affirm the citizens here in Moore County that we are working around the clock, every hour. I know the public don't see us out here and about, and they don't understand what we're doing. And I know it's frustrating to you. And I know our community is suffering here in the county, but I promise you, we are strong, and we will all come through this together. Every investigator working on this case, state, local, and federal, know what you want, and that's answers. We want to know who and why. We are committed to getting you these answers. Before we go into talking about possible suspects or leads publicly, before the person is even charged or arrested, we could jeopardize being able to hold them accountable. And I know we all want justice in the end. So we asked all of our citizens here in Moore County, please be patient with us, and we ask you to help us. Today we've expanded the grid. We have expanded out around our substations. We're going door to door, ground. We're reaching out to all the folks in this area. Anybody that may have a camera, door camera, any surveillance cameras in and around these areas that were hit, we asked you to please call us. If we hadn't already reached out to you, please call us. That number again to call us on our tip line number is 910-947-4444. Today, we're also announcing the state, out of the Governor Cooper's office, has offered a $25,000 reward. Moore County has matched that at $25,000. Duke Energy has also offered $25,000. So a total of $75,000 reward has been offered for information leading to the arrest and convictions of the persons responsible for this act. Again, I say to the citizens of Moore County, we're working hard day and night. We're not going to give up. We're going to continue to fight and to bring these people to justice. So thank you all. God bless.
Thank you, Sheriff Fields. Thank you for your team's support. Our next will be Jeff Brooks from Duke. He has a lot of good news to bring to the citizens of Moore County about the power restoration. So at this time, I will ask Jeff Brooks to come up.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the Sheriff for the ongoing work that law enforcement is doing. We will continue supporting that, and certainly are glad that we can be a part of helping provide incentives for information in the case. It's been a good day again. We have made some great progress yesterday. We brought on several thousand customers yesterday. We brought on several thousand a few days before. And today I'm happy to say that we began the final push to completion. Around 9 a.m. this morning or so, we began the actual restoration of customers. At that time, we had all the equipment in place, installed, calibrated, and synchronized to the grid. And we began bringing in customers a few thousand at a time. It was a phased approach, very manual. We actually brought in a number of employees last night to begin that final preparation and push, several dozen employees to add to the existing crews that were in the substation. And I'm happy to say that as of now, there's only around 1,200 to 11, or about 1,200 customers that are still remaining out. Those are down a little bit southeast of Southern Pines, and that's it. We have dropped from about 35,000 at the first of the day down to about 1,200 here in the afternoon. We will continue with those final restorations. We do anticipate having that completed this evening. And there may be possibilities of an isolated pocket or two where, with the equipment having been off for several days, we could have a routine small few customer issue there. If that happens, our line crews will respond just as they would on any day when there's an outage, and they'll get those back on as quickly as possible. But we are very pleased that we can get this work completed for the people of Moore County. We know what a challenging time that it's been, and we have been right there with you and are very pleased to be able to deliver this a day ahead of schedule from where we had predicted, and hopefully even a few hours ahead of where we predicted just yesterday for today. So with that, I will turn it over and end this session of information.
Thank you, Jeff. From the county report, I would like to say thank you to all the agencies that have reached out to us, state, local, federal, all the citizens, the churches, the businesses, and the citizens. We thank you for your support during this trying event. It has been testing for everyone, and we appreciate all of the support that has gone through that. The state of emergency still will remain in effect. The curfew will remain in effect till 5 a.m. in the morning. We will rescind the state of emergency and the curfew at 5 a.m. in the morning. So we will go through the night based on Duke's estimated time of restorations. We will lift it at 5 a.m. in the morning. The sports complex at Hillcrest, the shelter will remain open until noon tomorrow. So if citizens still have concerns or have isolated issues that they need to get out of the elements, charge their electronic devices, they can go to the shelter at Hillcrest Park through tonight and up till lunchtime tomorrow. The shower and laundry services that are at First Baptist Church in Aberdeen and First Baptist Church in Pinehurst, they will remain active until noon tomorrow. The meal sites that have been provided by Baptist-owned missions, they will provide the meals tomorrow, and they will stop that operations tomorrow at 2:30. So they will be at the same meal sites as today, but again, that will end tomorrow at 2:30. Currently, as I said yesterday, we have no fatalities related to motor vehicle accidents during this power outages, and we did have one potential death that we've had a lot of people asked about that. That case has been turned over to the medical examiners, and at this time I have no additional information at this portion on the death that got circulated through the social media. At this time, I will turn open to Nick Pacerno, the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, for his comments.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon. Welcome all. It's been a good day. First of all, I want to really reiterate everything that Brian said about all the thanks to our churches and our community for the way they've reached out and helped each other. It just goes to show for the nature of how the people of Moore County are made up. They love each other, and they really unite when we have times of trouble, as we've had. A few years ago, we had a dam at Wood Lake tried to take out quite a few people, and we saw the same uniting force in Moore County. So we're going to be open for business. We're the home of American golf. I hope you will get that word out, that our golf courses will be back open. They'll be playing golf, and we'll hope you come and visit us. And we look forward to seeing you here. We also, as Brian, I think he mentioned that I will be signing the order to rescind the emergency declaration just when I leave here, and that will be effective 5 a.m. in the morning. So thank you again for being here. Sorry the circumstances that brought you here. So come back, join us, come play some golf, and we'll show you Moore County hospitality. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Chairman Pacerno. At this time, we'll ask County Manager Wayne Vest for additional comments.
Thank you, Brian. And once again, thank you to everybody who's here today. Y'all hung in like troopers through this event, and we really appreciate all that you've done to help get the word out and keep our citizens informed. As the power has come back on, so has our community, our county services, and as Brian said and the chairman said, we're back to business as usual. There may be a few county operations that are still somewhat impacted. Any of those exceptions to business as usual will be they'll be posted on our website. And with that being the case, I do want to recognize just a few people. I said on Sunday it's all hands on deck, and it's been that way. But I would be remiss if I didn't recognize these folks, because from the time my phone rang Saturday afternoon, these folks have rallied. They rallied to the cause, and they've continued to rally, and they will until this event comes to a conclusion. So I do want to recognize Moore County Public Utilities. I know when the power went out, there's a lot of folks on wells, and their power was out. They didn't have running water. But anyone that was on Moore County Public Utilities continued to get water and sewer service. And those folks have been out day in, day out, night in and night out, making sure that the water continued to flow. Not only that it continued to flow, but it was safe for consumption. We were also able to help the town of Taylortown when their water supply went out for whatever reason. We were able to put in an emergency interconnect there to supply the town. A very successful operation and in short order. Our property management staff, our IT staff, Parks and Recreation staff, Department of Social Services, the Health Department, all of those folks have been working with and manning the emergency shelter, and it takes a team effort, it takes a community effort, and again, they've done an outstanding job keeping that service up and running with not only shelter for our citizens, but charging stations, warming stations. We had shower facilities. If anyone wanted to come by, meals have been mentioned. So, this is just, again, the tip of the iceberg. And of course, Brian Phillips has done an outstanding job as our public safety director, he and his staff, and y'all met the sheriff a couple of times. So as our county government operations have come back on full force, our citizens and our businesses are going to look to come back in full force as well. And I just want to say, if you're within the sight and sound of this press conference, please patron Moore County. Come back to our businesses. They have lost a tremendous amount over the last few days. It's been it's a holiday season, so whatever you can do to help make them whole, restore them financially, will be greatly appreciated. If you're dining out, if you're only going to go out once, go out twice. If you're going to shop and buy one package, buy two packages, and order appetizers, order entrees, order dessert, and just don't forget the waitresses and the staff that are working these restaurants, because they haven't been able to work for the last few days either. So when you get to the end and you get your bill, be sure to tip and tip nicely. I do just want to say that, again, thank you to all the citizens of the county, because I tell you, y'all have made it much easier by your kindness and your concern for all your fellow county neighbors and citizens. And just thank you. Thank you. We really appreciate it. It's heartwarming to live in this community. I grew up in Moore County, so I know what it's like, and I'm proud to be able to stand here and represent Moore County and our staff and our citizens, and just tell the world what a great place this is to work, live, and raise a family. With the dining comment, we've asked our health director, Matt Garner, to come and make a few comments, because we do want people to know when you go out and you're dining that, hey, it is safe. Go out, enjoy, no concerns. And with that, I will invite our health director, Matt Garner, to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne, and good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, the Health Department issued a temporary suspension of operating permits for food service establishments who were subject to power outages following the substation attacks that occurred over the weekend. This did not include establishments that did not lose power or that maintained power with a generator. Our intent was to protect the public health by preventing the potential for any foodborne illness due to restaurants operating without power or without the means of refrigerating and maintaining food at proper temperatures. This action is common in situations where there are food safety concerns for establishments that have lost power for extended periods. All told, the outages affected approximately 618 food establishments in our county. Since yesterday, our office has been working diligently to contact and field calls from these affected establishments to verify that they have been in compliance with emergency protocols for food safety in a power loss event. As of this afternoon, we've been able to make contact and verify compliance with nearly 3/4 of those businesses that were affected, and we continue to do so. Once verified with one of our environmental health specialist staff, establishments are given approval to operate business as usual as power is restored. To provide this verification, establishments have been able to call our Office of Environmental Health at 910-947-6283. Following today's news conference, in light of the updated power restoration information, the Health Department plans to issue notice to all camps, tattoo artists, and food establishments that the temporary permit suspensions will be lifted and the permits reinstated, provided that the establishments have satisfactorily completed the following steps. 1, discarded any time temperature control for food safety food items that was out of temperature control for more than 4 hours at temperatures above 41 degrees Fahrenheit. 2, are capable of providing food from an approved source that has been maintained in temperature control and provides invoices that show the source of the food. 3, are capable of providing adequate hot water that is available for cleaning and hand washing as required and referenced in the North Carolina Food Code. And 4, lastly, are capable of providing properly functioning refrigeration equipment with adequate cold storage capacity to maintain foods at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Please keep in mind that once restaurants do reopen, the ones that have been affected by the power outages, establishments may have their own timeline for reopening if they had closed. For instance, while some may be ready to reopen immediately, others may still be awaiting deliveries of new food inventory if they had to dispose of any food items during the outage. And while we're talking about food safety, I just wanted to mention food safety at home as well, and following the lead of our restaurants. Making sure that folks that lost power during the outage, if you had food items that were subject to temperature excursion, be sure to discard of any food that does not fit within that realm of safety, and which we just said with the restaurants, it's the same as with home. If you're above 41 degrees for more than 4 hours, and a lot of folks were. So, as the old saying goes, when in doubt, throw it out. We don't want anybody subject to any foodborne illness as a result of these outages at home or in our restaurants. So stay safe. That's all I have for you. I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Matt. We have asked our municipalities to come to join us today. I will start with Mayor Robert Farrell from Aberdeen.
Thank you. On behalf of the 9,000 citizens of the town of Aberdeen, I want to begin by thanking Duke Progress Energy for their immediate response. This has been a trying several days with no lights. We have major highways going through town with no stoplights. Luckily, we've had not one accident. I also want to thank Carl Colasaco, our police chief, and his men and women of the Aberdeen PD. Philip Richardson, the fire chief of Aberdeen, and his men and women of the fire department, and Harold Watts, who is our public works director, who kept all the water pumps working in the town of Aberdeen, even though they had no power. We brought in generators and kept them going. So we are very lucky that we have a nice crew that works for the town of Aberdeen. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department. I want to thank the governor that was here 2 days ago. And on behalf of everybody, we're glad that this is over. And one last comment, if you know what today is Pearl Harbor Day. That brought a whole nation together on that attack. And this attack has brought this entire county together and other regions also. As I was leaving town this afternoon, there was a truck that showed up with bottled water from Alamance County, which is a long way from here. So this shows how resilient we are and what a lucky place. Thank you.
Mayor John Strickland, Village of Pinehurst.
Thanks and good afternoon. Like the others, I'm here to represent the Village of Pinehurst on behalf of all our residents, our town council, and our village staff for the hard work that they have done over the last few days in working with the county officials and other state officials in bringing a conclusion to this unfortunate situation, which wouldn't have happened without the clear and succinct planning of Duke Energy. So from the Village of Pinehurst point of view, we're very, very pleased with the effort that the company has made. Their information to us has been very succinct, very clear, very timely, and we are very happy with the result of that. Now, those of us from some of the municipalities are here with a little bit of a grin on our face today. It's because we know our residents are going to end the day and go through the night in power and in light, and in safety. Population. And that's, again, reach out, help the merchants shop, get back to normal activity. Of this difficult time with the hazards we've had in energy. So thank you all very much, but we really do appreciate the efforts made by Duke Power and all the authorities here in solving this problem going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Strickland. We will now have Town Manager Reagan Parsons.
Thank you, Brian. On behalf of Mayor Carol Haney, who couldn't be with us this afternoon, I'd like to reiterate a number of thank yous. Certainly to Duke Energy for their tireless efforts in getting us back up. Very happy to see power throughout the town as I came up here to Carthage. Certainly to the county management staff, Brian and his crew. Wayne has been very good in getting information out to us as to the activities here in Moore County. The state of North Carolina, the SBI, and other law enforcement agencies who certainly assisted in making sure that these heinous acts on Saturday evening did not spiral into something more criminal and ongoing. It's really gone very well since those terrible hours on Saturday evening. To our own town staffs, police and fire, clearly. Wayne mentioned the importance of the water and sewer and utility crews. I know our library and recreation crews quickly changed gears and became social agents, helping citizens with whatever their needs were. Recreation staff were regularly fielding calls not only internal to the community, but from as far away as Wilmington and other areas of North Carolina, wishing to bring food and other provisions into the area. And they helped to coordinate that and make sure that it got spread throughout the community. So a big thank you to those individuals. Finally, just a major thank you to the organizations and citizens of the community. Really a lot of fantastic outreach. Those who had resources or the ability to come out and help their neighbors did so and continue to do so, even this afternoon and even as the lights come back on. So it's really a fantastic community. It's a wonderful community. I reiterate all of the invitations to come and visit us, whether it be for golf or food or other activities. Very, very proud of our citizens and of our community servants in getting to today. So thank you all very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Reagan. At this time, and our next speaker was going to be the Town Commissioner Anton Sedokio. He had to be called away unexpectedly. Emily Yop, the manager of Carthage, will be speaking in his place.
I just want to say thank you to all of the Moore County departments for everything that they have done during this time for the town of Carthage and for all of our neighbors and all of the other jurisdictions. It has been trying. It was a cold night when the power went out, and I'm just glad that they were able to get this on quickly. So Duke Energy, thank you for that. I also want to thank the town of Carthage Police Department, Fire Department, Public Works, and administrative staff for rising to the occasion, making sure that the town of Carthage continued to operate smoothly, that our water and our sewer were not impacted by all of this. And I also want to thank the citizens of Carthage for coming together to help each other in this time of need. And I'm very thankful to be the manager for the town of Carthage. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker will be Senator Tom McInnes. After he is done with his statements, we will go to a brief Q&A session for the meeting.
Good afternoon, Tom McInnes representing the great state of Moore. This afternoon I'm honored to talk to you a little bit about insurance. I have been in contact this week and the last couple of days with the Commissioner of Insurance, Mike Causey. This is the time that we find out what our insurance is all about and how it affects our lives. So if you have a loss, you need to check your policy. You need to make sure that your loss is covered. If you have a question about your loss or a question about your coverage, you need to call your agent. If you don't get satisfaction there or can't get through to your agent, call call the North Carolina Department of Insurance. They have a consumer helpline that's available, and talk to them. They're glad to help you. Now I want to say we're almost at the end of this great, great tragedy. We have just a few folks that don't have their power back on, but it's coming on quickly, and as Duke has said, we'll be on later this evening. I want to welcome everybody to the home of American golf, Pinehurst, North Carolina. All our Moore County folks are ready, willing, and able to accept you back into the fold of being customers and friends, and we want you to know that our restaurants are open. Our world-class golf courses are open for business. The number 2 course, rated as one of the finest and best courses in the world. Again, our fine dining restaurants, fully ready, fully open, and of course our first-class health care at First Health, North Carolina, is open as well. Folks, this has been a tremendous tragedy. It's been horrible. It has been everything that we always prepare for, but hope it never happens. We hope it never happens again, and with this wonderful situation that we have with all the folks coming together to work together, and also to bring forth the amount of reward money that's been brought forward, I think we're just days and moments and hours away from catching the culprit that did this tragedy. So with that, I'll leave it with you. We thank you again for being here, and we thank you for the free press.
Chairman Cerno has a couple more comments he would like to address the press with.
Thank you, Brian. Well, I'm standing back there, my brain's doing the, you know how it does. I hope we have a lot of local press here. I don't know where all you guys are from. But I'm going to issue a challenge to Moore County. This is for Moore County citizens and other citizens if you want to join in. On the Moore County website, we will post the agencies, Duke Power, our own Sheriff's Department, EMS Department, our first responders, anyone that had a part in getting our community back to normal. And I challenge you in this time of the year to send them a Christmas card thanking them. If you feel so inclined, send some money or send a gift card, and we'll make sure it gets to the right hands. It's the time of giving. These people have given everything they had so that we could get back to a normal life. And that's what we're about, right? Loving our neighbors. This is the first commandment. So let's do that. Send it to them, and we'll get that on our website. I just asked Wayne if we could do it, and hopefully we'll have it there by Monday. So look at the Moore County website, check it out, send them a card, even if it's just a thank you. I'm sure they would appreciate that. Thanks for letting me say that.
Thank you, Chairman. At this time, we'll open up for Q&A. Yes, ma'am.
Well, so I understand how critical it is for people to come forward with any video or maybe help investigators find any clues. I had some questions about the shooting itself. Investigators believe that there was a significant gap in time between the 2 shootings of the substations, and which one was hit first?
At this time, as the sheriff said earlier, giving out information too prematurely could hamper their investigation. So at this time, that is still help with the investigators, and at time subjects are caught, they will give an official press release with the details. We don't want to jeopardize any information leading to the arrest of these individuals, nor the prosecution of these individuals.
So were the radiators hit, and was there a significant time? Did the power go out shortly after?
At this time, I'll turn that over to Duke. Jeff Brooks, he will have more information on how it affected their network.
Thanks for the question. At this point, what I can say is that there was a small gap of time between the outage, less than an hour. But beyond that, as far as correlating that to gunfire or anything like that, I would not want to try to speculate. There's not necessarily a direct alignment, but the outage occurred within the same, roughly less than an hour time frame of the 2 substations.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, hey.
Sorry. While you're up there,
Hey, Whitney.
can you
Yeah.
describe what kind of security measures you guys are taking at the other substations, if any?
Do you mean the substations here in Moore County? Is that what you're referencing?
And more broadly, I mean, I think what's clear, and we've reported a lot of CNN, that these critical infrastructure locations are highly attractive to people who want to cause real damage pretty quickly. And so what is Duke Energy doing at any of the other more vulnerable locations?
Well, I'll start with Moore County. We have elevated security around our substations here in a radius around this county here, as you might expect with an ongoing investigation and the restoration activities. We've mentioned before that we use multiple layers of security at all of our facilities, not just substations, but other equipment along the grid that is what we would call critical infrastructure there. And all of that is designed, both physical, electronic, people, and processes, to deter disruptions or limit the scope of disruptions at those facilities. But, you know, I would say that when you have 100,000 miles plus of overhead lines and hundreds of substations that are impacted by many things, storms, cars hitting poles, even squirrels, as you've encountered, you have to prepare for a variety of things, and the best way to do that is certainly by making sure your grid is resilient, and that is the other aspect of the equation, is making sure that if you have a disruption, that you can manage that disruption and you can recover from it as quickly as possible. And even though this has been a multi-day outage, I would say that in many respects some of those resiliency things worked well. Availability of supplies that we can move in to replace essential equipment or more complex equipment than we might otherwise have. Certainly the relationships and cooperation with our local law enforcement and county officials and state officials, that is part of being resilient. So all of that works together. It's not just one equation, a barrier or something else to help protect those systems. Going forward, we will certainly learn from this event. We'll certainly look at the particulars of this event, and that will help to inform our strategy in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
I've got Wayne Alexander with NBC News. Thanks so much. I've got a question about the investigation. I know that you're limited in what you can talk about, but there's been a lot made about any possible connection between this incident and domestic extremism. Can you speak at all about motive? Is that something that's being looked into, that possible connection? And just kind of what can you say about that?
At this time, as the sheriff said, it's an ongoing active investigation. Releasing any information prematurely could affect the outcome of arrest or conviction. So at this time, we're keeping all the information we can that could jeopardize that close to law enforcement agencies only. So we don't want to release anything, get speculations going up at this time. As soon as they have an arrest and can release all that information, Sheriff Fields, Chief Deputy, out as soon as possible.
Can you say at least if that's a connection that's being investigated at all?
At this point in time, we're not giving anything for comparison because we don't want any assumptions or anything made until an investigation has concluded.
Quick follow-up. Could you talk at all about the potential types of charges that the suspect or suspects could face?
The types of charges will be based on, if it goes federal charges, the Attorney General will do that. If it holds state, then the state Attorney General will help decide those charges, or if it stays local, our local DA. So once a conviction, arrest is made, the charges will then be formulated of who will be charging the individual, if it'll be a local, state, or federal agency. So all of that's still being worked as the investigation is actively going on.
In regards to doorbell cameras for people who live in the area, you mentioned people should look at them if they live near this substation. What should they be looking out for?
Anybody that has any cameras, whether it be security cameras, door cameras, if they see any suspicious activity, that's something that does not look normal for their environment, they need to contact the Sheriff's Office tip line at 910-947-4444.
And in regards to damage, for a Duke Energy estimate of damage that was caused by this?
As far as damage goes, there was a number of components in each of the substations, of the two substations, that was damaged. Some of those were complex pieces of equipment that had to be completely replaced. And so there is certainly a cost to that, but we are right now focused on completing this restoration today. That was really the marching orders: get everybody back on as quickly and safely as we can. We're doing that. We'll have that hopefully completed by this evening, and then we'll have the opportunity to begin to figure out what all that looks like and how that will be managed.
One last question.
Sure.
We noticed some armed security guards, and you mentioned, amped up security at some of the substations. Any reason to believe that there's copycats out there, or that whoever is out here and not caught wants to do this again?
You know, as a utility, I don't think that we can afford not to assume all risks, and we are always working to prepare for those risks. So I can't speak to specific copycats of this instance. That would be the Sheriff's Office that could speak to that, but I can say that from a security standpoint, and a grid hardening standpoint, we're always looking at those things. And you know, this was one of the scenarios that we planned for. And what you're seeing is a response based on our preparations for that. And certainly we will take learnings from this event and work with our peers. You know, it's not just Duke Energy, it's the other utilities. We share information regularly. We work with our trade organizations, with federal agencies and state agencies to share intelligence and information. So obviously we will stay closely coordinated in the weeks ahead to make sure that we continue to keep a reliable grid and one that's serving you every day.
Quick follow-up, any potential estimate, could the damage be more than $100,000?
I don't want to speculate on the cost at this point, but it did involve multiple systems in each substation.
Is it accurate to say millions?
Again, it's hard to speculate on the exact cost, but I would certainly say that it was a significant operation. Yeah, thank you.
At this time, we will close the Q&A session. I'll make final comments. Again, as I said in my opening comments, I appreciate all the citizens who have understood the environment that we have lived since Saturday night. We appreciate their compassion, and we do feel with them because we are citizens of this county also, so we thank them for being understanding and their support. Again, I'd like to thank all the agencies, first responder agencies that have stepped up and helped during this event. And as last comment again, I'll restate it again. If you saw something, say something. Again, the tip line is 910-947-4444. And thank you for coming to today's briefing.
Able to get out and walk away. East Wendover is closed in the area while repairs are made. State education leaders are considering a new way to determine teacher pay. Tomorrow, they'll review a proposal that would link pay to teacher performance. Basically, the better the classroom results, the better the pay. There's been some controversy over the idea. Some say it's a good idea, while others say it is not. Well thought out. We'll let you know what happens with that. Take a look at your screen here. You have seen this person. Have you seen them? Greensboro police believe they know something about a fire that happened at East Cone Boulevard Family Dollar on Sunday. They say the store is a total loss, leaving people in the area without much needed access right before Christmas. If you've seen this person or you know anything about the fire, call Crime Stoppers. And speaking of the holidays, you might want to pull out your phone and take a picture of these upcoming shipping deadlines. If you're sending through the post office, you've got until December 17th for retail ground and first class mail. Priority mail can go out until the 19th, and Priority Mail Express can be sent all the way up to the day before Christmas Eve. Now, look at the deadlines for UPS. They're a bit different, and it's best to check online for ground shipping dates. Those interested in 3-day delivery have until the 20th, the 21st for 2-day shipping, and December 22nd for next day shipping. And last but not least, for the folks using FedEx, listen up. The deadline for ground economy is tomorrow. After that, you'll need to ship things off on or before December 23rd to get them there in time for Christmas.
Well, right now, holiday season is in full swing, and if you're out shopping, there's a chance you've seen those Samaritan's Purse donation boxes.
The North Carolina-based organization is collecting toys for Operation Christmas Child and preparing to deliver them across the world.
This year is a bit different, however, considering what Ukraine is going through in its war with Russia. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey found out what Samaritan's Purse is doing to help people in need.
Yeah, Chad, Samaritan's Purse is doing whatever they can to help on all fronts in Ukraine, whether that be providing fresh drinking water, food, or helping rebuild war-torn communities.
We've helped over 9 million people with food, with medicine, blankets. We've got about 1,500 houses that we've rebuilt, warm room, waterproof windows, doors, wood stove, that kind of thing.
And since the war began back in February, Samaritan's Purse has had their team on the front lines working with local Ukrainian churches serving the masses.
I mean, we just crossed a threshold of 100 million pounds of food, which is about 46,000 metric tons. And we're distributing all of that through a network of church partners that we have developed that network.
Throughout the year, Samaritan's Purse has sent hundreds of volunteers to Ukraine, but they are also still focused on helping everyone in need.
Overall, across the organization, yes, Ukraine has created an extra workload, but I feel like that we're fortunate. We've got great staff. We have committed staff. We've had more people come in. Our volunteer numbers are high. So as far as the implementation of our routine programs like Operation Christmas Child or things that we're doing in, Colombia or Cambodia or Kenya or Sudan, all that's going as normal.
Isaac says they currently have over 60 staff members still in Ukraine. Now over to Monique for your look at the weather.
So earlier in this newscast, I talked about clouds and I talked about fog and then I talked about rain. Next up, we're talking temperatures. Highs yesterday were in the 40s for some folks. We barely hit 50 in Greensboro. Now today it's much different. We're much degrees warmer, 57. But if you walk outside, doesn't it also feel a little sticky? That humidity is a little bit more thick as we walk outside today, and that's consistent through tomorrow. And that's why we're also seeing more of that fog. These temperatures now are sitting a little bit milder than where we should be for this time of year. A little bit, few degrees warmer. 56 in Greensboro right now, 60 in Burlington, 62 in Siler City. So we're on the warmer side for this winter season. Tonight, those numbers not really dropping too much. Like I mentioned yesterday, if you were with us, when we have those clouds, right, that are with us through the day and stick with us through the night, they won't allow us to cool down much. We actually stay quite warm. That's what we're seeing on this map here with temperatures staying in the 50s. We're seeing that not only in the central Piedmont, but also in the foothills. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about bone chilly air that settles in at nighttime. And that is usually the case in the winter, but not today and not tomorrow. Tomorrow's high temperature should be in the low 60s in the foothills as well as the central Piedmont, 60 degrees in Greensboro. Our full 7-day showing you a cooler weekend and then dry time, looking ahead to seeing that next week.
81 years ago, more than 2,000 Americans died in an attack on a Navy base in Honolulu. Today, most of the survivors are no longer here, but the ones that are alive vowed to keep their memories alive as well. We'll hear from them coming up in about 8 minutes.
We, the people of the United States. You know that line. It's how the U.S. Constitution begins. Today, that document, that supreme law of our country, is right here in our state at an exhibit, and I'm going to show you who got up close to it coming up. All right, so we're all looking at this. This is pretty common, right? You and your friends, you're in a cool place, you want to take a picture. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. How often does that happen?
Every day.
Every day.
Just never
What is
know.
the coolest thing that you've taken a picture in front of with your friends or at a place?
Oh my gosh.
When I went to see the pyramids in Tulum recently,
Yes.
that was a lot of fun.
Yes, very cool. You definitely
I
want to
have
get your
4
picture
children,
with that.
so I don't know what to tell you. It's been so long since I've done anything like that.
Gosh, I don't know. Maybe skydiving.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. Well, today in North Carolina, folks got a chance to have their picture taken with something that most people will never see in person. Let's take a look. Snap a pic, our friends, because you're in front of one of 14 known copies of the official printing of the Constitution. This is the Constitution that was, of course, produced for the delegates to the Constitutional Convention and for the Continental Congress. Now, to clarify, it is one of only 2 copies of the first printing of the Constitution that remain in private hands. Well, today, folks also filed in the North Carolina Museum of History for this one-day exhibit. Along with the Constitution, folks got to see the North Carolina original copy of the Bill of Rights. It is normally held in the permanent collection of the state archives. Isn't that a cool thing? It was
That's
a one-day
very
free
cool.
exhibit. I'm a fan of the North Carolina History Museum. If you haven't been there, they always have these really cool exhibits. In fact, I pulled them up behind us so that you can see what's going on now. My next one to go to is the Power of Women in Country Music.
That's cool. Wow.
So that one, they have all these guitars and costumes and stuff from like Shania Twain, Taylor Swift, Dolly Parton.
That's cool. I would
Yeah.
love to see that.
I've never been to that museum.
You've never been.
This is out in Raleigh, right?
So this is in Raleigh, and so it is free to get into the museum, and lots of these different exhibits are free. So like North Carolina A to Z that you're seeing right there, and Are We There Yet, North Carolina? That one is free. The sports one is free as well. But like then they have these special ones. So the Power of Women in Country Music, that's something that's like, it's gonna be like $16 a ticket. It goes on through February. I went last year to Downton Abbey where they had all of the costumes and stuff there.
neat.
And that was really cool.
I've been there once before, but I didn't realize they had all these different exhibits that you could pay for as well.
Yeah, so this is something that, you know what, you need a stocking stuffer, buy 2 tickets or 4 tickets or whatever it is and go see one of these exhibits in Raleigh. Make a day of it, it'll be fun.
Very cool.
Today marks 81 years since 2,400 Americans were killed at a naval base in Pearl Harbor, Honolulu. Japanese warplanes launched the surprise attack which propelled the U.S. into World War II. Right now, the number of survivors left to tell firsthand accounts of the day are dwindling.
Ike Schaub from Portland is one of them. He served as a musician in the Navy at 21 years old. He's now 102. He returned to Honolulu for a special ceremony, saying he made the trip for everyone who couldn't.
A hero's welcome. For Pearl Harbor survivor Ira Ike Schaub. The Portland resident returned to Honolulu for the 81st anniversary commemoration of the attack. Schaub was 21 when Pearl Harbor was attacked, a musician in the U.S. Navy assigned to the USS Dobbin. Today, he's 102.
No, I'm not worth it. Who's worth all this?
Schaub held back tears as he remembered his friends and many others who lost their lives that day.
Those are the ones I want to.
So emotional, isn't it? It's a little harder to fly back. He almost couldn't make it this year after several health issues. But Schaub says he'll keep coming back for those who can't be here.
I wouldn't have missed it. You could have brought me here in the hospital bed.
Schaub's son Carl is also retired from the Navy and spent 4 years in Hawaii.
Just, well, it's overwhelming. Just really made me tear up.
81 years.
Also arriving in Honolulu, 2 California women who were among the 6 million who joined the workforce during World War II as part of the Rosie the Riveters movement.
It is so unreal. We're not heroes. We just wanted to do our job and get the guys home.
Marion Wynn and Marion Susay were both 18 at the time. Wynn worked as a pipe welder, Susay as part of an engineering team. Wow.
It's you know, with me being such a late kid, my father was in World War II. He's passed on now, but he remembers the radio broadcast. Like that's how of when that happened, with Pearl Harbor happened. He said he remembers some people before the news had finished on the radios, and then some people had TVs back then, not many. He said that people were running to enlist when they heard what happened. I will never forget that visual that he painted in my mind of 18, 19, 20-year-old guys just running to the recruitment offices saying, get me over there. I mean, it was an amazing thing.
And it's so sad that I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's just so sad that the numbers are dwindling so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great that we do still have people like the gentleman in the story that are able to tell their stories, or you heard the story from your father. It's so great that that history just keeps getting shared. And 102 years old.
I love that.
He looks great.
And sounds great.
Yes.
Put together. He said, you could bring me here in a hospital bed.
Yes.
I still want to be
That
here.
stuck with me too.
Yeah.
And I love the Rosie the Riveters too.
They played a huge role.
Right. Boy, what a time.
It's very good. All right, we'll take a break. We're coming back.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Hello, Lauren is a 20s jazz singer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thomasville police are trying to figure out if the green Charger is a law enforcement vehicle from another agency.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Oh my good Lord, I did not know that it went that low, Hannah.
Hey friends. Okay, let's see. Can we zoom out just a little bit? Yep. Oop. And maybe bring us down some. And I can move this if I have to, but that's good. What? Well, tell me what you think. Do you want me to move it back some? This way, right? Okay, hold on. How's that? And I'll stand over here. Okay.
It's time for my 2 cents. This week, Governor Roy Cooper declared this week Winter Weather Preparedness Week. During this week, local and state agencies are encouraging North Carolinians to plan and prepare now before potentially dangerous winter weather arrives. This can include preparing an emergency kit for your home or your car, even sealing door and window cracks ahead of freezing temperatures. I'll be honest, I have been that person who says, I don't need to stress about the upcoming storm. My side of town never loses power, at least not for more than a few minutes. Oh, how I wish I made the proper emergency kit for my home. This past September, I lost power as the remnants of Hurricane Ian rolled through the Triad. Though frightened, I just knew the power would come back on shortly. Well, when I woke up in the morning the next day, I still didn't have power. Not only was I low on water bottles, I also didn't have any food I could cook without electricity, and the one candle I had was coming to an end. My power eventually came back on later that evening. After 24 hours with no power, my father ordered me a power bank that I could use to charge essential items in the case I lost power again in the near future. Though there have been more severe weather events that have caused others to lose much more than electricity. I share this to say, it's important to be prepared because you never know when a few extra supplies will come in handy. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We're following breaking news about the mass power outages after an energy grid attack in North Carolina. The multi-day disaster almost over now.